Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Episode 8, After Before. This was pretty cool because, like I said, I think I said this last week when we had the whole Mac and Deke situation with the two with the two of them being stuck in the 80s, with being stuck in 83. I did say that we're probably gonna get an episode where it shows us what everybody on the Zephyr was doing while the two of them were doing the 20 months of hell, and that's exactly what we got. We got the perspective, like it showed Deke like going off to go get Mac, and then it showed everybody else being on the jump ship. It showed them jumping, and Deke and Mac's 20 months for them took basically 20 seconds. So Mac and Deke, they're back on the ship now. So now that Mac and Deke had their own episode, so it's now Elena and Mae's turn because the time drive was damaged. So because the time drive was damaged, it's forcing them to time jump, but to short little periods. So like they would go from like they're in 81, they would go like to 6 months in, and then 3 months in, and 2 months in, and this, that, and the third. So they're trying to come up with a plan to try to stop the time drive from malfunctioning. Now there is a thing where, because somebody had mentioned that they were just like, yo, why can't we just remove the power source and stop us from jumping? So this way they'll just be stuck in one specific time period, and it'll give Enoch and Gemma time to fix it. And then they were just like, well, we can't do that because the thing emits some energy that nobody can penetrate. And if somebody tries to go up to the machine, the energy will basically kick them back, so nobody's able to do it. And then they were just like, well, Yo-Yo could do it, with her speed power, but she doesn't have her speed power, so that can't happen. So then after that, like Daisy, she wakes up because remember she's still recovering from having her blood and her guts drained from her, with the whole Nathaniel Malik situation. She was just like, well, if anybody, because Yo-Yo's whole thing was she felt that because she got poisoned like last season, she felt that the reason why she didn't have her power was a result of the poison. So Daisy was just like, well, my mom, she's in afterlife right now, and if anybody can figure out in human biology and could fix Yo-Yo, it would be my mom. So they decided, so Mae and Yo Yo, they decided to be the two people to go to, because they weren't going to send Daisy there. They ended up going to afterlife to go see if Daisy's mom Jai-Ying can help Yo Yo get her power back. So the two of them jump on the ship and they dip. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew, like they're on the ship, they're trying to figure out, like what they can do to fix the situation in case, Yo Yo can't get her powers back. Gemma ends up sending Fitz, like a nice little message just in case they don't make it. She made Susa a brand new leg. So just like how Coulson had, like the prosthetic, the mechanical arm, and how Yo-Yo has two mechanical arms, Susa now has a mechanical leg. So that was pretty cool. So so again, and they said they're just coming up with different things, like different situations. They go talk to Coulson, like Mac actually went to go talk to Coulson at one point, and it looked like they were using not the framework, the book, the Darkhold. It looked like they were using Darkhold because remember when like Ava the robot, when she was in the framework using the Darkhold, she built this machine that literally built her a body with inhuman powers. It looked like they recreated that machine, and that machine was literally building Coulson like a brand new body. So the crazy thing about it was they turned Coulson on. They activated him while his body was still being put together, and I thought he was going to freak out. But instead, he was just like, oh, it's like he was like, well, damn. He's like, shit must be really tough if y'all turned me on before I was finished. They told Coulson the situation, so now he's like, he's all up to speed. So Mae and Yo Yo, they end up going to Afterlife. When they get to Afterlife, like Mae's whole thing was she was just like, yo, let's just land the Quinjet and walk up to Afterlife, because she was like, the last time Jai-Ying saw a Quinjet, it was all out war, like on S.H.I.E.L.D. So they land in the forest, but while they're in the forest, some Asian girl is like running from her life, and then this other Asian dude runs up on her, and somebody else runs up on her. And the Asian dude, his name was Lee. He has the ability to like throw knives or like make knives appear, whatever. When I saw him, I swear to Christ, I thought that was Scorch from season 1. Because if you remember, like I'm talking about, like this is probably like episode 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like in season 1 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there was this Asian dude who had the power to manipulate fire, and then he called himself Scorch. So this dude looked just like Scorch. I'm sorry, like because he did look like him, and because he was in Afterlife, and because like Scorch was a metahuman. When I first saw him, I was like, is that fucking Scorch? But apparently it's not, because Scorch didn't have the ability to like throw knives and stuff. So anyway, so they so the his name was Lee. So Lee ends up taking the girl, ends up taking Mae, and take Yo Yo. He takes all of them to Afterlife. they see Jiaying, they tell Jiaying what the situation is. They're just like, look, she used to be inhuman. Well, she isn't human, but she used to have speed power. She doesn't have her power. Jiaying's whole thing was she was like, well, she has to prove that she's one of us. So she gives her the I was about to call it the monolith. The damn the diviner. She she gives her a diviner, and then Lee, he was just like, this is a diviner. It's very deadly to people and then she just picked it up and everybody was like, what the hell? But they forgot, everybody forgot, including Elena, that she has a prosthetic arm. She has robot arms. So of course, when she picks the diviner up, nothing's gonna happen. So she ended up. I thought that was pretty cool. So she had to like put it to her face, and then it started glowing. And they were like, "Oh, you're inhuman." And then Jiaying at that point, she tried to come up with situations to try to like cure. Like do an acupuncture to see if she can remove the poison from her body, and all the meanwhile, while she's doing all the tests, Mae's trying to figure out what's going on with this girl that they call Cora. This girl that seems to be like running from her life, because Mae was just like, yo, the girl seems like she's a prisoner. But she told Yo-Yo, she was like, look, at the end of the day, this isn't our fight, so we just gotta let that one be. But she was still like looking into it, especially because she can feel everything that everybody's feeling. So Jiaying determines, actually, and it was funny, Mae's powers are getting so good with the feeling to the point where she can feel people now without having to touch them, because she said in the last episode, when Mac and Yo-Yo got back together, and then the two of them went off to a private room to have sex, to have makeup sex, which was funny because for Yo-Yo it was like 20 minutes, but for Mac it was like 20. It was 20 months. Mae said that she could feel that. She could feel like there's sexual energy on the other side of the room, which was crazy. And then then Elena was just like, dear God, she was like, oh my God, Mae. She was like, that must have been so horrible. And then she was like, not really. so Mae's power is getting stronger. So she then, so then Jiaying comes back the next day, and then Jiaying's just like, look, she said we did every test we could imaginable. Her problem isn't physical, it's mental. There's a mental block that's preventing Yo-Yo from using her power. And then Yo-Yo started freaking out because she was just like, if it's a mental block, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So Jiaying came up with this idea. She was just like, well, if your friend has the ability to feel people's emotions, she can help you navigate that mental block to try to to discover it. So this way you can get you can find out what's keeping you from utilizing your power. So she ends up doing this whole thing where she has like candles, and she has like like soft music playing, dim lighting. She had she had like Mae and Yo-Yo sitting in front of each other, touching each other, and Mae was not having it. Mae was just like, first of all, this is literally like my worst nightmare, all this touchy-feely, like emotional crap. She was just like, second of all, do I gotta be this close to her? Like, why I gotta touch her thighs and everything? And then Yo-Yo didn't like it either, because Yo-Yo's not really like a girly girl, so she was just like, all those candles and all this bullshit, So Jiaying was just like, you know what? I'm gonna let y'all two work this out for yourself. So then Mae was just like, look, if it involves touching and like physical physical energy, whatever, she was like, let's move all this bullshit out the way and let's just have a training session. So the two of them ended up having a fighting training session, and while they were fighting, Yo-Yo started reliving like emotional situations, like emotional trauma from her past. We ended up seeing a flashback of when she killed Ruby. We saw a flashback of when she got injected with the bat poison, to begin with. We even saw a flashback. The girl, when they were in the future, when they went to the lighthouse in the future, the girl, the Spanish girl that Flint was best friends with, I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but she's the one that died and then ended up coming back. We saw her death, and then then Yo-Yo remembered like a situation from her past where when she was like 10 or 11 years old, she said that her father had upset some mob people, and they went to go hide out at their uncle's house. And the mob people found them. Both Elena and her brother were hiding in the closet, and her mom's necklace was like on the table. The mobsters were just like, the mobsters ran up on the uncle. It was either the uncle or the dad. It might have been the uncle. The mobsters ran up on the uncle, and they were just like, listen, if you don't pay us the money back, maybe we'll just take this necklace and take some stuff in your house. So Elena kind of freaked out because she was like, I can't let them get my mom a necklace. So she ran into the room, took the necklace, and went back into the closet. The guy saw that the necklace was missing, and he's just like, yo, somebody stole the necklace. And then the uncle tried to stop him from going in the closet. The two of them got into a fight, and then the uncle accidentally got shot, and the uncle died. And Yo-Yo's whole thing was, she was just like, she wishes that it's funny because like she's Yo-Yo, like she has super speed and she runs to one place and she snaps back. She said this time she actually wishes she could have just stayed still, and then her uncle never would have died. And the funny thing with her powers now is, because she told Jiaying, I don't have the power to run fast and snap back. She was like, now it just seems like I just go super fast standing in one place, and that was very weird to her. So she was just like, so she was broken up over the whole thing. Mae, and it's like, and to be in that situation, like having Mae there was like the worst possible person you could have had in that situation. But Mae was just like, Mae was very like logical about it, and she was just like, look, maybe the whole reason of why you're going through this is because, you're supposed to forgive yourself, and if you forgive yourself, then maybe the mental block will be removed, and then, you'll be able to use your powers again. So now, the girl Korra, remember the girl Korra? The whole thing with Jiaying was, Korra has power that she can't control. And her power is like releasing like out of her body at a frantic pace, and it's destroying afterlife, it's hurting people, and she's becoming a danger to herself and other people. So Jiaying was hoping that she could figure out what blocked Elena's power, because she wanted to use that, use whatever that was to stop Korra's power, to keep Korra from hurting people. Korra at one point, she beat up one of the security guys and took his gun. She ran out into the forest. She went to go kill herself. She was going to blow her own brains out. And then enter Nathaniel Malik, who's back. He actually has black gloves on his hands, so he definitely figured out how to control Daisy's power. So he stopped Korra from killing herself. He blew up the gun, and then he was just like, listen, afterlife is holding you back. They're holding you down. And then she was just like, oh, but I can't control my power. And he was like, well, screw controlling your power. He's like, let that shit go. He's like, let the power go. And if people get hurt, then they just get hurt. So he got into her head. He talked her down. Nathaniel Malik basically brought like Hydra soldiers with him. So both like the Hydra soldiers, Nathaniel Malik and Korra, they went back to Afterlife to storm the castle. They were beating up people. They were tying people up. They were kidnapping Inhumans. So then So then Yo-Yo, Mae, Jiaying and everybody, like they go investigate to see what the situation is. They see Korra with Nathaniel Malik, and there was a moment where Korra and Jiaying were talking to each other, and then she was just like, oh, you were keeping me prisoner, and then Jiaying was like, no. She was like, I love you. She was like, like I used to read you bedtime stories when you were a kid. She was like, like you're my daughter. And then Mae and Yo-Yo was like, hold up. Because we now come to find out Daisy has a sister. And I'm assuming, because Mac had made a comment earlier when Coulson had said to Mac, he was just like, I can't believe what would be more traumatizing than losing your parents. Mac was like, yeah, but he said that, but the thing with that though is, at least I was born before I lost my parents, because his whole thing is if something happens to Jiaying now, Daisy will never be born, which was weird because I guess that means Daisy's mom didn't meet her dad yet. So then, when did she have sexual relations with someone else to birth this other kid? So who's this? Because remember, Jiaying doesn't age, so Jiaying could have like Daisy could have like 3, 4, 5, 6 brothers and sisters for as long as Jiaying's been alive. So come to find out, this girl Korra is like Daisy's sister, and Jiaying is trying to like talk her down, and it's not working. Korra ends up, she's like, oh, you tried to destroy me, and then she ends up like her eyes light up or whatever. She's getting ready to explode. Your boy, what's the dude name? The dude with he couldn't see, and then Gordo. So a young Gordon was there, so he showed up. He grabbed everybody and he disappeared and transported them from Afterlife onto the Quinjet. So now they're on the Quinjet, and then they're just like, hey, listen, that guy who was with Korra, he's our enemy. He's the person that we're trying to take down. And if he's got a hold of Korra, if he's taken over Afterlife, we're going to be there to help you, and we want your help in the fight. But then Jiaying was like, yeah, but I can't leave my people behind. So then Mae gave Jiaying her time watch, and she said, listen, take this watch. We'll send coordinates to it that'll give you the time that when we can meet up again. So Gordon and Jiaying bounced, and now, Mae and Yo Yo are back on the ship. So they get back on the ship. Yo Yo tells everybody, like, listen, I don't have my powers. So they're just like, all right, what's plan B? They were all going to get on the Quinjet and just abandon the Quinjet and just be stuck in 1983. But then Yo Yo at one point, she thought about it, because she was just like, yeah, I can't run fast, grab the, like dismantle the machine and then snap back. But then when she thought about it, she was like, well, shit, maybe I don't have to, because like she said, her power doesn't allow her to run fast and snap into place. snap back into place, but she said that the way her power works now, she just stays in one spot really, really fast. And that's what she said with her mental block. She said that when she was a kid, she wishes she would have just stayed in one place. So she was just like, well, shit, I don't have to run fast and snap back. All I got to do is run up to the machine, stay in one place really, really fast, and just be fast enough to take the power source out of the machine to power it down. And that's exactly what she did. And she saved the day. They ended up not losing the Quinjet. And I mean, well, the Zephyr or the Quinjet, and now Enoch can fix it. Now we're in a situation where Mae and Yo-Yo have to have an uncomfortable conversation with Daisy, letting Daisy know that she actually has she has an older sister who was supposed to die in the original timeline, because Cora in the original timeline, I'm assuming she took that gun and she blew her brains out, and then Jiaying just never spoke of it ever again. But in this timeline, Nathaniel Malick saved her, so now Daisy's older sister is alive and well, and she's a villain. So somebody got to tell Daisy that, and that's going to be a very uncomfortable conversation. So then, so it's like I said, so everybody's on the ship now. Your boy Enoch, he's trying to fix the power source. He was just like, oh, I think I fixed it, and then it turns out that he didn't fix it, and then the power source went crazy, and it zapped everybody into what I'm going to call the temporal zone. If you watch Legends of Tomorrow, that's basically where they are. They said that, like, in the coming attractions for next episode, they said they were in a time storm, and we're having another Groundhog episode, because we had one of those in Legends of Tomorrow where Zari was reliving the same hour over and over again, because since Legends of Tomorrow is on a time ship, something happened with the time drive, and the time drive was making them repeat the same hour over and over again. Arrow did the same thing, where Oliver was trapped into a dimensional world that the Monitor had put him in, where Oliver was reliving the same day over and over again and try to save Captain Lance. We see this type of thing all the time. So it's only, I mean, I'm gonna be dead ass. I'm surprised it took S.H.I.E.L.D. 7 years to do an episode like this. So in the next episode, they're trapped in a time storm, and before they went into the time storm, Gemma put Daisy into a healing chamber. They powered down Coulson because they were just like, listen, Coulson, like, your body's back, but you still need more energy. You still need to power up. So they turned off Coulson and put Coulson into stasis. Coulson and Daisy were the only two people who were out of commission when they went into the time storm. So my whole thing is, in the next episode, when Daisy starts reliving the same day or the same hour or the same minutes or whatever over and over and over again, her and Coulson will be the only two people that'll be aware that they're in a time loop. So Coulson and Daisy are going to have to be the ones to break that time loop. So, and then finally in the final after credit scene, Cora and Nathaniel Malick had all the Inhumans tied up, and then Nathaniel Malick was basically just like, yo, we got all these people here, let's just start some anarchy. So I think what he's going to do is he's going to strip as many powers as he can from all the different Inhumans, and he's going to start injecting regular people with powers just to create chaos throughout the world. So that's my prediction there. So we'll see what happens. So that was that was it. That was it. Good episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We're still waiting for Fitz. We're still waiting for Fitz. No Sybil in this episode. And we still don't know, because it looks like Sybil and Nathaniel Malick are going to be like the big bads, and we don't know what either of their plans are, because since Sybil's the only Chromicon that's left, and Nathaniel Malick, he's well aware of the fact that he was supposed to die in the original timeline and he's alive now. You know, like I said, we don't know what's going on, and we don't know their end game as far as like how that's going to play out. But we got Susa. We pulled Susa out of the timeline, so we got somebody to counteract all that. So thank you for tuning in. Click the notification bell so you can find out when my new videos pop up, like Stargirl and Doom Patrol. Leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you think's going to happen in the next episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let me know what you think's going on with Nathaniel Malick and Sybil, what their end game is, and when are we going to get a Peggy Carter cameo, because we all know that's coming. So it's your boy Icon signing off for episode 8 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And until next time, take care, guys. And as always, as we travel through time, I'm out this bitch.